Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of If My Feet Could Talk. God, it's been a while. I'm your host, Owen Thomas, also known as the Ultra Running Matelot. As I said, it's been a while since I last recorded an episode. I've been busy with work, been busy with family life. So this took a little bit of a step back, but it wasn't going to end. People have enjoyed my podcast and I've enjoyed creating them. So here's the latest episode. But let's have a bit of a catch up. It's been a while. So since the last episode, I have run past the 2 year mark. I've currently today run 905 days every day in a row. Today, I've raced a few times, and the last race was the UDR 24 hours plus one. The weekend just gone prior to this recording. It's a very strict race with lots of rules and stuff. The classic has a finisher and the 0.47 mile lap round a banger raceway track. Didn't quite go to plan. However, I did finish the race, even though I vomited and cried at certain points through the horrific stormy weather we had. But I got through it. It's such a fantastic race. It's a shame it was quite possibly only a one-off because the racetrack closes. I have a film that's coming out and probably out by the time you can watch or hear this. So go check it out on my YouTube channel. So the next milestone is 1,000 days of running every day, and that's coming up next year in February. I'm hoping to arrange some sort of event to celebrate that with everyone. So keep an eye out for that as well. However, let's move on. My next guest, he's a gentleman I met through social media. In fact, I've got to know him. He's a fellow Welshman. He's sound as hell. He had me on his podcast the other week, so I am reciprocating. And like most of my guests, we all have stories to tell, and he's no different. He is a fellow Welshman and a military man. He's in the army. So I'd like to introduce you to Lee Davies. Recording in progress, supposedly. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
I'm very well. I'm very well, mate. You're looking good, obviously. That beard's coming on.
Yeah, it's coming back.
How was your run earlier?
Good, yeah. So, you know what it's like running in the same location all the time. So we live about 20 minutes from the coast either way. So we can either go to Puthcall, which is like a holiday village, or we can go to Aberafan, which is like a seaside town, but it's not a holiday village. So where Josh done his first half marathon a couple of months ago. The wind and the sand, relentless. So yeah, but it's good to mix it up.
Nice. I mean, you haven't ventured into your woods recently, I've noticed.
When was I in the trails? Yeah, I was in the trails Thursday. I just haven't recorded anything.
I see. You need to stay on the trails, but get off those roads.
I'm like 80% of my runs are on the trails.
Good. When was the last time you were at Brecons?
It was 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Was that the race?
Oh no, that was the Gower race. That was.
Cool. So, for those of you, obviously, for the listeners and watchers that don't know who you are, just give us a little bit of information about who you are, where you're from, and what you do, bud.
Right, so my name's Lee Davies, and I hail all the way from the valleys in South Wales, little town called Maesteg. I'm currently serving in the British Army in the Royal Welsh. I've been in the Army on and off since 2001, so 20 years, with a couple of breaks in between. I like to change my mind. But yeah, I'm an ultra runner, and I've got my own running group for basically to encourage positive mental health and well-being through fitness, basically through running. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I like to run stupid miles, not as mad as Owen, but yeah.
So you say on and off, changing your mind in the army and all that. Obviously, you know, I've done similar. I was a failed Matelot once, and then a failed civvy, and then back again.
Yeah, I've been a failed civvy twice.
So you've already got one up on me on that already. You see, but obviously you said you're from a little village in the valleys. What was it like growing up as a child? Were you sporty?
Yeah, so growing up, until I was 11, there wasn't anything in the valleys. So I'm from a town now, but I grew up in a village a couple of miles away, and we didn't have anything. There was a boxing club, but until I reached a certain age, my mother wouldn't let me go down to the boxing club. But when I was 11, there was a football team started. So I started playing football, and then I was boxing training, but then that stopped when I was about 13 or 14. But there was a time where I was doing cross country, and it's a bit long-winded, but my grandfather, non-related, non-blood, used to take me to in Virginia, and I used to compete in competitions all over South Wales. South Wales, like Forest of Dean, Newport. So yeah, I'd done a bit of traveling when I was a kid.
Did you actually like the cross country? Because I hated it in school.
I found out I was really good at it because it came natural to me, I think, and it wasn't forced upon because I didn't fall into it until later. I sort of found my way into it, and I asked to go into it, so I think it was a little bit different.
I suppose, yeah, as I said with many things, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to get the best out of it. And if you're forced to do shit, as you know, in the military, you get often forced to do crap you don't want to do, and you're just not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And cross country was one of my things at school. It sort of put me off it. Although I do have appreciation for it. It's probably one of the hardest disciplines.
It's horrible.
Of running.
Yeah.
Because there's no summer cross country.
Yeah, you're right. It's off season. Yeah,
it's always off season in the winter, breaking the ice and all that sort of stuff. So you did that through your childhood. Was there any family influences in your sports?
Yeah, so like I said there, so to try and put a backstory to it, when I was younger, my mum split with my biological dad when I was nearly 2. And then I was brought up by a gentleman that had 3 kids from my mother. His father then is the one that got me into cross country, and he's actually a world champion sprinter. So he's won 800 meters, he's won 1500 meters, and all his running PBs have come at the age of 55. So even when he is 80, born in 1935, he's 86 now. And even when I was 13 or 14, I couldn't keep up with him. So 20 years ago, when he was in his 60s, I couldn't keep up with him. So yeah, it was always, I think that was the catalyst for running for me is my brother's granddad.
And was he someone that you looked up to then?
Yeah,
In that field.
Yeah, in the running field, yeah, because as youngsters, you don't really have much guidance, especially in the valleys. It's all theft and crime. So yes, it's a good escape.
Were you part of the Valley Commandos? Were you?
do you know what? There's they're actually from my village.
Yeah,
genuinely. So
I remember being on a ship with a friend of mine. He was a Cardiff boy. He was from Ponty, and we used to always just sort of take the piss out of Valley Commandos and stuff, because you always used to see them about how they were dressed and all that sort of stuff. And
I thought you would have done. I thought you've done your research, because the village I grew up, Croesero, they actually when the guy sold the boxing gym, they've commandeered it now, and this now the Valley's Commando HQ.
Oh my word!
That's mad.
They are some characters, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to them, no?
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not.
So when did you look at obviously joining the army? How old were you?
When I was leaving school. School was quite rough for me, to be honest. I was tiny. I'm 5'10" now, but when I was in school, I was like 5'2", 5'3", and I found my records for the army the other day, and it was 47 kilograms, and yeah, and like 5'2". So school was rough for me because it was littered with bullies.
Yeah.
So I never really knew what I wanted to do. When I left school, I had the intentions of going to college and doing a double awarded advanced vocational qualification in engineering, with the hope of joining the RAF as an engineer. When I was 16, I was shopping in Swansea and I seen Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers in the army careers window.
Yeah.
So, oh, that sounds good. A couple of months later, I'm on army prep course. I don't even know. The few months was a blur, but yeah, I spent 3 months doing army prep course.
And you were what, 16?
16, yeah.
16, 5'2".
Yeah, tiny. I was
you hadn't even finished growing.
No.
47 kilograms.
47 kilograms, and I was like I said about the fitness. My school was at the bottom of a hill, so because I was bullied, I was always first to the top of that hill.
Yeah.
So I was fit. I ended up coming top student on that military prep course, and then went away to Arborfield in Army Technical Foundation College. Oh, and I fucking hated it. I don't know how I lasted. It was joint training, so it was boys and girls. But you're talking 20 years ago now, and training was horrible. I finished phase 1, and there was a wait to start my trade training in Borden. There was a 9-month waiting list. I just turned 17 at the time, and all I was going to be doing was guards and duties, so I just pulled the pin.
Yeah, because at the age of those that join at the age of 16, 17 in the army have to go to like the colleges, don't they? The Wellington College or whatever the other one begin with H in there. There's
Harrogate.
Yeah, Harrogate. That's it.
Yeah.
Before you actually sort of proper join, isn't it?
Yeah. So I left. I got out when I was 17. And I ended up doing numerous jobs. Ended up working away again in, funny enough, in AstraZeneca. I'd done on the suspended ceilings. So I was away for a couple of months, but then I'd split up with a girlfriend at the time. Civvy Street wasn't really going the way that I planned, and it was always something missing. The Iraq war kicked off. So that was it. I was down to the careers office and asking which regiment was going to Iraq next.
And you joined back up, what was that, 2003?
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
So you were a little bit older by then, because you obviously originally joined in 2001, so that's an extra 3 years. You were about 19, is that right?
Yeah, I was 19, yeah.
A bit more mature, a bit more headstrong.
Yeah, and then
Had you actually grown an inch?
I was so literally when I'd left for training when I was 16, I was 47 kilograms. I'm 5'2" or 5'3". When I finished training in the June, I was 5'10". When I come home, like my father,
Jesus Christ.
my father, my stepmother couldn't believe it. They're like, what the hell has happened? I literally went from, and even the boys, the bullies back home, when I come back from basic training, I'd shot up. They were like, "Where?"
Now there's strapping young lads, been in the army. Yeah, check me out.
Yeah. Come near me.
I bet all 3 women in your village were after you then, weren't they?
I wouldn't say that.
So you went back in 2004, and you joined which regiment?
Royal Regiment of Wales at the time.
Yeah, and did you deploy?
Yeah, straight to Iraq.
Straight to Iraq.
So finished basic training.
Yeah.
Done a 10-day exercise in the snow.
Yeah.
In Tidworth to prepare for.
That's good climatization. That's
perfect climatization.
Yeah.
Done a 10-day final exercise, confirmation exercise with the regiment, and then deployed then out to Terrick 6.
And you joined, it's infantry you joined, wasn't it?
Yeah. So armoured infantry.
Armoured infantry.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between infantry and armoured infantry for those?
So it's essentially, you've got 2 different types. You've got mechanized or light infantry, which basically you tab in on your feet, on your black taxis. But armoured infantry, we have different types of vehicles. At the moment, it's the Warrior. Essentially, it's a people carrier. It's a tank. It's not a tank, but it's an armoured fighting vehicle. Carries 7 people in the back and crews 3.
And basically, you jump out of those things.
Yeah. So in essence, we bombard to the target location. It gets hammered with the 7.62 and 120 mil rod and cannon. Then we get out at the back and finish anything that's not being killed.
All right. So how was your first tour?
Slow. It was a lot of milkshakes, football, and it was chilled. There was no helmets or anything like that. I ended up getting Kazivac. I smashed my face in the back of a Warrior. Hence all this drama is coming now. So I've had 3 facial reconstruction operations. The left-hand side of my face is permanently numb. I ended up going back out on that tour in October after about 8 weeks after I'd had the stitches out.
So how did you smash your face?
So essentially, I'd had a jaw realignment beforehand, because when I was in the first time in adventure training, when I was like 16, I'd knocked my jaw somehow and it'd gone out of line. So I had one operation before I re-enlisted the second time. But when I went back out to Iraq, I hadn't even realized that it'd been knocked back out of place. My sergeant major was like, "What's up with your jaw?" I was like, "Oh, I banged it the other day, but I don't see any different." And he's like, "You need to go to the med center." Went to med center. I was on the next Herc home. Headley Court, having emergency surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you had that, you smashed your face in the back of the vehicle. Got sent home. Then what?
So after Terrick 6, this was 2005, the end of 2005. We flew home on bonfire night. Funny enough for the army to do that. Was pretty much a slow year. Just exercise and stuff. I picked up my went away into my Lance Corporal course. And then we were getting ready to deploy then on Terrick 10 in 2007. And Terrick 10 is a complete different ballgame.
Yeah.
So the space of Terrick 10, which was 2007, we sustained more casualties as a battle group in that tour than the whole of Iraq combined. And it was a massive eye-opener. I'm actually writing a book about Terrick 10 at the moment, so I kept a diary out there.
Yeah.
it's actually because obviously I'm in my office, but
Yeah.
it's called Iraq: The Gunner's War.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I'm just turning my diary. I kept daily accounts. I don't know if that's going to zoom or focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, is it? I kept daily accounts of activities for the time that I was there, and I'm turning into a book. I'm not publishing. I'm not going to go down that route, but it's going to be like a momentum for my daughter and my wife.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I know a few army friends that have done that from the times in the first Gulf War and all sorts. I think it's a good thing. Keeping diaries of this shit. I mean, even I've kept diaries of trips away because it's something to hand down. So
yeah,
when, for instance, my boy turns around and if he ever has a hissy fit when you weren't there or what have you,
yeah,
when he's old enough, he can read the books and at least he'll understand what I was doing and the fact I wasn't just deserting him for months on end.
That's it. We got social media now and the likes of
Yeah,
YouTube
it's
and
a
stuff.
lot easier now.
Back then, we didn't have that, did we? So
It's a lot easier now. I mean, it's on our ships we've even got Wi-Fi now, so we can at least send a WhatsApp message. Which when I first joined up in '97, we didn't even have a mobile freaking phone.
No.
And we're just about getting emails on board ship, which used to be get checked by the comms lads in the comms office before you read them. So if your missus sent anything dirty, they know about
they
it.
knew, yeah.
So times have changed, and for this side of things, a whole lot better. But I think there's also something about writing a letter. I still do it. I still write a bluey.
The old e-bluey.
Yeah. Well, not even an e-bluey, a proper bluey.
Yeah.
I think there's something special about writing shit down because I think it's more heartfelt when you receive it than maybe a text message or what have you.
I tell you what, especially like lately, because obviously the medications and stuff are like affecting my my thought process and my speech and my words, get my words out. When I'm writing, you wouldn't even think it's me writing the way I articulate things. It's it's good. So it's a good release.
Yeah. So obviously that was quite a big tour for you.
Yeah, punchy.
How did it make you feel after that?
All right, like I'm quite resilient, and in the moment you don't really realize things. It's only when you look back and if you actually take the time to deep reflect on things that you will actually think about things. But I tend not to do that. I'm too busy elsewhere, and I could see like the suicide rate when we got back from the tours. So we've lost pretty much just as much men as we did out there to suicide.
Yeah.
And that's just a common theme across the military. And I think it's the inability to express emotions in men because of the stigma. Whereas like the old, I know we refer to the old days, but the old classic man up. That's why people are not willing to talk about their feelings, and when somebody does talk about their feelings, they're outcasted straight away.
Yeah, and I think that's with everything that's going on in society today, I think it's making it a bit harder for men as well because I don't want to get down into this sort of discussion because but 1 minute you don't know whether to talk about it or not, or next minute you're getting you're taking away the problems from the other gender and stuff like that. And the fact that we've got 75% of all suicides is male. There's not enough being done, but it's all men at the moment, and that type of thing. And you can't. It's like, well, I don't want to talk about my problems because I'll get shut down because it's not as bad as your problems, type thing.
And that's the problem. And it's like people compare themselves to others and they think,
Yeah.
oh, what I'm going through is nowhere near as bad as what John next door is going through. So why am I feeling this way? Or why I shouldn't be sad? I shouldn't be feeling depressed. I shouldn't be doing this. And that's where it just goes into a vicious circle where they just hide it more and more and more till they can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just started properly talking about my mental health over the last year or so
Yeah.
from back when I was a civvy. And it's quite funny actually. Me and my son had and my boy's mum. We both talked to him about both our mental health issues. Actually, this morning in the car. In fact, so our son's aware. You know, how much he understands is another thing, but he's aware that we both have suffered it for different reasons. So maybe if he sees us talking about it, if he has some dramas, then maybe he'll open up to us. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, I come from a line of mental health anyway. So my parents have, and my my family tree pretty much all have severe cases of mental health, and I think that's why I've been so resilient to it, and managed to just stay level-headed for so many years. So only when I started seeing people around me actually being affected, and like we're going to, because we're there now. I never thought that I could experience mental health because I'd seen it all, and it's only through pain that I now see. This is where men downplay it. Like now see, I got 2 weeks ago, I got diagnosed with depression and anxiety by the doctor through pain. Now, whilst I can sit there and say that, yeah, I'm not depressed, I've got anxiety, there's got to be some truth in that for a doctor to be telling me. And the only reason is I know I'm downplaying it, but the pain has turned my world around.
Yeah.
Like, I was speaking to my neighbor earlier on, and he was asking what you're going to do when you leave. And I sat there and I thought, and I was like, I'm like a magpie. I change my mind every single day because I know I can't work because mornings are a write-off. My attacks are just fucking horrible. But I haven't yet accepted the fact that I've lost everything I am, to even think about a new career. And when I got sent home from the army, I've been home now a year. I got dismissed from DCMH because they said it's all pain based, and once you solve your pain, then there'll be no sadness or anything like that. But what they didn't realize is I've been home a year, on my own, unable to do anything, in pain. So what that's done is it's brought onset of feeling of low self-worth because who the fuck am I? Like, where do I go? And this is where the run-in has come in massively, really, because if it wasn't for my running and stuff, then it's quite difficult because of the attacks and the pain. I don't know what the future holds. Like, obviously, we've all got outgoings. I've got a house. I've got a daughter. I've got a wife. I lose my salary. I've been a sergeant for nearly 10 years, so I'm on 42 grand a year. I lose that, and yes, they can pay me off, right? And I'll get my pension and stuff like that, but that's short term. Like, what do I do moving forward? Do you know what I mean? I've still got a 9-year contract, at least in the army, or I did have till 2029. So I think looking back, it's it gets me down because I'm not who I used to be. Definitely high flying, going places, but because of the attacks and stuff, I'm just come to a dead end. And looking forward gives me fucking anxiety because I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? How am I going to survive? So I think it's a broad subject where I need to sit and come to terms with the fact that I've lost where I was. Just find a new way forward.
Yeah.
So I'm in that space at the moment of coming to terms with things and trying not to dwell on the past and worry about the future and just focus on what I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, while we're on it, then we might as well talk about what. So in February this year, you were diagnosed with what they call suicide disease. Do you want to explain what that is?
Yeah. So essentially, from the attacks, the left-hand side of my face is dead anyway, so permanently numb. So when you go to a dentist and have a jab, that's what my left-hand side of my face is like. So you may notice I overpronunciate words like P's and F's because I had to learn to speak again. And but because of the operations, the trigeminal nerve that runs from the mandibular in the jaw to it's got 3 branches, one to the eye, one to the cheek, and one to the jaw. It's sending wrong signals to the brain, and essentially what it's doing is once it sends a wrong signal, it sends electric shocks into my cheek, up into my eye, through to my brain. And these electric shocks are like nothing you've ever experienced. And they're in your face. And they call it a suicide disease because 25% of men who have this disease, or not men, 25% of people who have this actually can't take the pain anymore and actually choose to end their lives. So yeah, it's been a battle since February to try and fight because of my previous operations. The only cure for this would be to have brain surgery, where they cut a incision into your brain. I say incision, it's a massive scar into your brain, and they like put a block between the nerve. But because of my previous operations, I can't have that, and they found no on my CAT scan. They found no compressions on the nerve. It's just damaged. So it's pain blocking tablets for me. So for the last couple of months since February, since I've been home, I've been on 6 different batches of medication. Now the thing is with medication for nerve is that they are antidepressants. Now, whilst I didn't have any mental health issues or anything like that, these antidepressants, nerve compressants, sent me batshit crazy. Like I was on massive highs, massive lows. I'd have mood swings, and I think that this is where it stemmed from, is the medication. So this anxiety and depression is definitely from the medication and the pain. I was on one particular brand, metazapine, and I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to withdraw. And I'm not shitting you when I say this. It was like a heroin withdrawal. I was shitting blood. I was shaking. I was sweating. It was horrible. And for 3 days, I literally had to fight myself from not taking another tablet to stop the withdrawal symptoms. So yeah, I'm now on 2 batches. They've combined 2. I'm on carbamazepine, which is like a slow releasing, and I'm on 1,000 milligrams a day. Jeez. So I started off on 100, and I used to have a tablet cutter. And I'd cut up, I'd have 50 milligrams in the morning, 50 milligrams in the night. Now I'm on 1,000 a day for the rest of my life. And I'm also on duloxetine, which again is a drug they use for antidepressants, happy pills. But because of its nerve compressant components in it, when you combine the 2, they just knock me for 6. Like in the morning, I can't think straight. I'm fuzzy. Good thing is though, I haven't had an attack since last Friday. So, and I started these tablets 2 weeks ago. Mornings is a write off, and that's why I'm struggling to find what I'm going to do because I can't fucking have a civvy job that I'm going to be wrote off in the morning, operating machinery, trying to drive to work, just doing anything in general. It takes me till about 11 o'clock. So if I can find a job that works nights or afternoons, then I'll be good to go, I think.
Yeah, try not to keep taking it out on your microphone though.
I know, yeah.
Keep dubbing it. So when you're running, how do these medications affect your running at all?
Yeah. So first thing that it does is it stops me running. So I know we all have dips in discipline. Well, not you because you're on a 1,000-day streak, but yeah, it certainly affects my my will. I won't say motivation because motivation's bollocks. It comes and goes, but it certainly affects my will to actually be bothered to go out, even though I know it's going to do me a world of good. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is when I'm out, if it's early mornings, then it takes me about 25 minutes maybe to actually think clear and actually get into the run. And yeah, pre these 2 tablets, I did used to have attacks when I was running. So if I'd be running, I'd have an attack on the side of the track or road. There's nothing I could do about it. Just have to wait for it to pass.
So when was the last time you cried?
The attack last Friday.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah, it's bring you to your knees pain. So when I stub my toe now, I just laugh it off. I could stand on Lego all day.
I'm not going to lie. It's sort of making me emotional just talking about it. Right. We'll move on. We'll stick with it, obviously, in the army and stuff. Did you carry on your sports within the army?
Yeah. So jumping back in, I jumped in back into boxing because obviously I missed it when I was a civvy.
Is that why you got a fuck nose, or was that why you smashed
oh
the
no,
face off the
no, that's from being on the piss. And that's the reason I am drunk for about 4 years. So yeah, I did a bit of boxing and spent a bit of time in the boxing team, but then opportunity come around for. I was always into fitness anyway, and I never really had done any races, but I was always fit. I'd done my PTI course when I come back from Iraq the second time. And then in 2009, the opportunity came up to go out and do the Comrades Marathon. Now I'd never done a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, but to qualify for the Comrades, for you guys that don't know, the Comrades is the ultimate human race. It's 56 miles over the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa, and they alternate it. So 1 year they'll do from Durban to St. Pietersmaritzburg, which is down, which is up, and the other way is down. So I done it from St. Pietersmaritzburg to Durban. They say that down because it's negative down. You've got to cut off, and once that 12-hour cut off is there, they just close the stadium and everybody goes home. You don't even get a medal. They send trucks out to pick you up. So I had to do a marathon to qualify, and because I booked onto this thing last minute, I had to go out to Rotterdam and do the Rotterdam Marathon. Now, this was my first ever race. I didn't have a clue. And I completed, I think I posted a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, my timings for the Rotterdam Marathon. I completed the first, so there's 8 5Ks. I've completed the first 7 in like 3 hours. And then the last one, so I was clocking 20 minutes of 5K. And then the last 5K took me 51 minutes.
You hit the wall big time at 23 miles.
Massively. And I had 4 hours to get in to qualify to be able to compete in the human race. And I done it in 3:51, I think. And I walked like the last, I can't even remember, the last 6K, I think it was. So yeah, that was an eye opener. So when I went and done the Comrades Marathon 2009. No training, no clue of running. Again, I think my longest run was like 10 or 11 miles. By the time I got to 25 miles, it was just a grizz and a mental game. But I managed to complete it. I'd done it in 10 hours 26, I think it was. What was it? 10:51. Might have been 10:51. And got to come away with a medal. And that was it. That started the ultra game for me then from there in 2009.
So going back to your first race, the Rotterdam Marathon, all right? Obviously, you're well aware that you nailed the first 23 miles in basically, 3 hours. And looking back on it now, knowing what you know now, although you were consistent, do you realize you may have been a bit too fast to finish at that pace through the...
I didn't have a clue. Oh, I didn't take a gel.
Now looking back at it now.
Oh, do you know what? Like, I didn't have a gel. I didn't have any structure. There was no way I was going to finish. Even if I slowed it down now you can look back. Even if I'd slowed it down like by 15 seconds a mile, then I would have finished in like 3:20. But instead, there was no way. But there was nobody there. That's the thing. Like now there's so much out there, like information wise, that you can that you can gain from like going on YouTube, TikTok, anything like that you can gain and get a training program. Like I just went there thinking I was the dog's bollocks because I was fit in battalion.
You're not the first and you won't be the last to have done that, that's for sure. But what was the Rotterdam Marathon like? Just obviously, apart from obviously bunking at 23 miles and crawling across that line, I know how that feels. What was the actual atmosphere and all that sort of stuff?
It was amazing. It was immense. It was a late start. If I remember rightly, it was an 11 o'clock start, and new baby didn't have a clue. I was wearing a vest, didn't put any sun cream on. By the time I finished, I was crisped. But I'd say, pound for pound, Rotterdam has been the biggest supported marathon I've ever done. In comparison to other ones I've done since, the atmosphere, the support, pretty much like I felt pretty much all the way. There was supporters, and it's not a major marathon.
No.
But yeah, it pretty much felt like all the way that there were supporters out the whole time.
I mean, I love Rotterdam. I've been there a couple of times for run ashore with work, and it's a bonkers place.
Yeah,
it is a bonkers place. I remember we arrived on the Sunday, and we went out, and most places were closed. It was a Sunday night, but there was this place called the Ski Hut, right? And it's just a bar, and we went in there, and it was just nice and quiet. But they were serving beer, so that was all we wanted was a beer, like, after a long day of coming alongside and stuff. And the music changed from nice and relaxing to suddenly it was playing happy hardcore, right? And everyone's on top of the tables, jumping about, going nuts. There's women on top of the bar dancing like out of Coyote Ugly, and then it changed again into Oompa Loompa music, the Oompa sort of, I know, Dutch music, I suppose, if you want to call it that. It's really bizarre, and then it'd go into rock, and then it back into happy hardcore. It's really strange. And by the time we left at like 2 o'clock in the morning, on a Sunday, so it's now Monday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, we come past and someone's left a sofa outside the house. We're taking this sofa back to the ship. Yeah, it's 3-piece suite. Oh, we'll get us back.
Fucking hell.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. I love it, and I really enjoyed running around there as well. It's a beautiful place to run.
Yeah.
But I've not raced there.
Yeah, it's pan flat as well.
Yeah. Well, most of Holland is.
Yeah.
It's mostly underwater.
Yeah, the bridges. That's the only hills you got.
Well, this is it. and obviously you mentioned Comrades being your first ultra.
Yeah.
What was that like? Obviously an eye opener.
Yeah, massively. Like, obviously, this was my second event, and it was in the space of, so I'd run the Comrades, and then 3 weeks later I'd run the Rotterdam Marathon, and 3 weeks later was Comrades.
Yeah.
I'd never experienced like an event, and the Comrades is, I'm going to pronounce, I think it is officially the world's largest ultra marathon. And I think when I run it, it was like 13,000 people.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
It's got to be up there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've seen somewhere that it's the world, now it's the world's largest ultra marathon.
I don't think even UTMB has that amount on race day. It has a few thousand, but
yeah. So I was saying this to someone as well. Like when I was about 42 miles in, 2 women in their 40s, and not small, passed me like I was stood still. They were like, how old are you, boy? I was like, I was 24. You're way too young to be doing this. You want to wait till at least 35 off the plod, and I'm in turbo. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, what an experience. Thousands and thousands of people. You're never alone. People on the side of the roads like support, giving you salted bananas and potatoes and showers, shower sprinklers all the way. And then when you come into the stadium at the end, truly magnificent. And like you hang about them for the cutoff. What a mental, like at 12 hours over, they just literally just close the finish line.
Yeah.
And literally, if you go onto YouTube and type in Comrades Marathon 2009 finish or any year finish, when we're there, I'm not even shitting you when I say there was a guy about 3 meters away from the finish, and they just like, nah, no medal.
Yeah.
Just close the finish line. I'm like, fucking brutal.
Aye. But then you sign up for that. That's what you expect, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't really complain about it, because it's like entering the Barkley marathons over in America.
Yeah.
And then complaining that you're like 10 seconds out of touching that yellow gate. You know, it is the rules, and you should read them before you sign it. Simple as that. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from there, obviously your running's expanded and stuff like that. And you recently raced, and you did, apart from obviously being overtaken and getting lost or whatever, going from second or whatever it was down to fifth. All things considered, you had a really good race, didn't you?
Yeah. So I knew going into so my latest race was a Gower Trail race. I knew going in that, and I harp on about this all the time now, about mindset. The race previous was an ultra, but the race before that, I went in with the mindset that I wasn't going to be beaten, and this was a trail half marathon. And when you go into something with the mindset so strong, it's hard. Like if you put in the training, you've put the work. There's obviously going to be people that are better than you. That's understandable. But like, if you can give yourself the best possible chance by having that mindset of nobody's going to beat you, or you're going to run your perfect race, like literally what you sell yourself or what you tell yourself will come true. And when I use this this mantra in this half marathon, I won by a long way, and I was like, wow, there's something here. Like this, and like there was guys there that had run 100 marathons. He just finished his 100 marathon on a bounce. So these guys are like, and I'm like, wow, there's something here. So when it came to this last race, I went in knowing that if I'd practiced what I'd done in training with nutrition and everything like that, that it'd be hard for me to be beaten. But the only big thing is because of this medication, and this is going to sound like excuses, because I'm an infantry platoon sergeant, I got lost. But when it comes to the medication, I find it hard to make decisions now. Like, whereas before, decision making was instantaneous and snap, and it was There was no overthinking. Now, because of the medication I'm on, it takes me a lot longer for some reason to come to a decision. It's fucking mental. Like, and I'd recce'd this route. That's the mad thing. Like a couple of weeks previous, I'd been down.
Were you allowed a sport crew?
No,
No.
no.
Would you think? Would you now? Just thinking about this, and I'm trying to work. Just like thinking about how you could be helped. Obviously, with your decision making. Entering events where you can have a sport crew.
Yeah.
They make the decisions for you, i.e., when you're going to take on food, all that sort of stuff. So all you've got to think about is running.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, because it's such an unknown space, this trigeminal neuralgia, this brain disorder, that like when it was coming to crucial. Now, looking back on reflection, it may not have been as bad as I thought it was. Like when it comes to crucial points where you'd think, right, I've got a decision here now. There's a coastal path, and there's fucking 3 ways, right? There's no markings. I've got a map, but Owen, I might as well be staring at Batco. Genuinely, like, I've got a map, I've got a compass, but you might as well have put Batco in front of me and gone, there you go, Lee. Get some Batco. That's exactly how you're going to work out your race. Because when I come to a junction, I'm like,
Mate, I don't even have your brain disease, and I still have that issue sometimes.
But yeah, so like it come to crucial points, and I'd be like, oh, I'll go this way, and 3 out of 5 times I was wrong, and I'd go up and I'd like look down and I'd see people below. I'm like, for God's sake! So it ended up turning a 22-mile race into a marathon, and I finished. I was winning all the way until about 10K from the end, I say, but I ended up running a marathon. And when I finished, the guy that eventually won the race was shocked, because when he saw me come in, he was like, I didn't know I've won. He was like, I thought you were in first. He said, you were well in front. I said, yeah, I got lost, mate. I was running around like a lunatic in a farmer's field. I am so close to just quitting. I've WhatsApp my wife, who was waiting to finish. I was like, I'm fucking sacking this. You can come pick me up from Oxford Bay, because I can't be asked. Like, I just can't I can't seem to find the right track. I just.
Do you know what? I don't have your issues, but my last race, I felt exactly the same though.
Yeah.
It didn't go my way. The weather was fucking horrendous for 5 hours. It was a storm.
Yeah.
And because you weren't allowed to sit down apart from when you're having medical treatment like a massage, or you're going for a shit. Right, that was the only times you could sit down.
What's this, basic training?
Yeah, basically. So, because I could use the toilets for a shit.
Yeah.
I went to sit down for like 10 minutes just to have a rest.
Yeah.
And at one point, like, I think it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm literally hands over my eyes, thinking, going over my life choices. And I text the wife who's gone, she went off to my parents, to sleep. Can you come pick me up?
Aye, wait there. Did she give you the same response my wife gave me?
I got no response, because even though she told me her phone was going to be on, she never fucking replied. So, I mean, in a way, it worked.
Yeah. Well, mine was like, come on, don't be stupid. She's like, you've got this. Just even if you don't finish where you wanted, you're not quitting.
And I think that it was the same for me on that race. It wasn't how I planned the race.
Yeah.
But I finished it. I crossed the line and became a finisher.
Yeah.
Despite everything. And
yeah. It's mad. It's mad in how in that little moment, like, you can convince yourself to quit. Now, I've experienced this. So I was on a military course. And it was my second attempt. And the first time I got injured, this course is, I won't say what it is, but It's in Brecon.
Is there a TV show about it by any chance?
There may be, yeah.
All right, okay.
So I was on the second attempt, and the fitness was nothing. I was literally I was smashing it. So I was pretty much first in every test, let's say. And then it came to the last but one test, and I convinced myself that I wasn't going to pass a further check that we were going to do on like your clearances. The reason for this was
dodgy websites you'd be watching.
yeah. So the reason for this was like my past finances. My family at the time were in some shit. My mum with mental health and stuff. So I convinced myself that I wasn't going to pass this security. And like I had one test left, and I got to the guy that runs the course like halfway around this test, and I was like, I'm done. And he's like, the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I was like, I'm done. He's like, what do you mean you're done? You've got 10k left to the end. I was like, done. And he was like, you fucking mad? I'd convinced myself that I wasn't going to pass. So in my head, I was like, right, I'm not going to pass. So what's the point? I got on the Bedford, got back to camp, drove back to Tidworth, bawling my eyes out, signed off and got out the army. I got out for a year. Mad. Like how you can convince yourself in that split second to...
You're not worthy enough. Yeah.
No, now, obviously, I'm more aged, more experienced. Like this was 2014.
But it still happens, though.
Oh, of course it does. But like now, if it was to happen and I had this mindset, it'd be you get to the end and then you let destiny fucking decide. You don't quit. There's no way you will stop. Back then, it was like, bam, gone, quit. Yeah. So I've been there. I know exactly what that mindset's like. And whilst everybody has an opinion on when people attempt this certain course, my reflection from everybody is like, oh, he's going to fucking nail it. So when I come back, people were like, the fuck happened? And I just went, fucking hell, I'm not worthy. You click, 7 clicks to heaven, see you later. And I got out. Ended up setting my own business. Bonkers.
Yeah, very much so.
No.
So let's move on and let's talk about your group that you set up, Vet I Run. Let's have a little bit of a chat about that. Explain what
so back end of 2019, I think it was 2019, I'd seen that there was a push on social media for like it wasn't UK veterans, but it was like this. They just finished this 22 press ups for 22 days. Now this circulated back in 2016, but for some reason it was circulating back around again.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And now when we're running, you know yourself that I come up with some crazy ideas when I'm running. Like my wife's business that she's running now, I set up off the back of an idea when I went for a run. And I was sick and tired at this point of seeing people struggling with no support network. So when I was out running, I was like, what can I do that can benefit people, where I can pass on knowledge, experience, and open up so I came up with Vet I Run. It's a play on words for veteran. And obviously you're a vet and you run. But I set up this
See
group.
what you did there. Yeah. It's very clever.
So
well done.
So like one of the guys that I was working in a careers office at the time, and I was trying to come up with a design, and he's from the RAF. And
we'll let him off.
Yeah. Somebody's got to be.
Yeah.
But top guy, and he's like into his graphics designs, and he come up with a design which I think is by far one of the best running designs that I've seen in regards to the message it's got, because of the actual message it's sending with the running, the Great Britain, and obviously the Vet I Run. So essentially what Vet I Run is, we're a Facebook group whereby we promote positive mental health and well-being through fitness, whether that's walking, whether that's hiking, whether that's running, whether that's cycling, swimming, you name it, we promote it. And I set up a group and then somebody else jumped on board with me, Glenn, and we've got nearly 3,000 members now, and it's been like that for the last year. No increase in members, but what it is a massive support network for people to rant, for people to seek support, advice, running advice, not jobs. There is like advice just in general, and to keep it the engagement, I run competitions. We've got a park run club where people can be a member. So essentially, my aim is to run events throughout the UK, whereby this community can come together and actually take part in fitness. Because, like for you, fitness and running for me is medicine. Now, any shit day can be made better by there's no such thing as a shit run. Like when you get back from any run, you feel amazing. So if I can express that to other people and educate them along the way, then I think I'm going down the right path.
Yeah, and you know, I've already seen that, and obviously I've you invite me into the group, and I've seen that throughout the group since I've been in there. So obviously, if there's any veterans watching this that doesn't know about it, go find it. Come join in. I know there's loads out there that probably didn't even know about it. So
yeah,
get on it. Future races, got any?
Yeah, so I think everybody's pipe dream is, especially if you're a trail runner, as UTMB. And obviously it's a point system. So the plan would be to qualify for UTMB by doing races, but it's difficult at the moment. And it was like COVID and trying to get races in the book, like that's going to score enough points that doesn't sell out stupidly quick. Like the Arc of Attrition sold out like before it was even sold. So it's finding these key races for me to to enable me to qualify with a point system for UTMB. I don't want to do Marathon des Sables as fancy as it's because for the price of Marathon des Sables, I can do 53 ultras in the UK. So UTMB is the big one for me, and I think the next few years is going to be projected towards CCC. Just head into UTMB, and I don't want to go out and complete. I want to be top 10 Brit. So it's going to be a long grind. And when I say top 10 Brit, I'm going to be 40 in a few years. So by the time I get to UTMB, I mean top 10 over 40.
Well, look at Damien Hall. He managed to get in the top 5. That was his goal, and he, age is much different to what you do when you're out there. So it's doable with the mind frame and right training and support, I suppose. Right, we'll head into the quick fire 10 rounds. So, first question: your favorite running brand?
At the moment, Reebok.
Okay, well, explain that. Why is Reebok? Why Reebok?
So, at this point, if we went back 18 months, it'd be Asics. Now, I'm quite unlike other running YouTubers because I won't pay the prices. I've got these, right?
Oh yeah.
The Carbon X's. and they're my most expensive shoe. And yes, they serve a purpose and they're amazing. I like a fucking bargain. And I used to run in Asics Gel Pulse 9, and I had 3 pairs, and they were my daily trainer. And whereas everybody has, like, especially now, the go-to will run a pair for speed, a pair for this, a pair for that. But I have 1 pair, apart from them. And I use Asics Gel Pulse for a long time. Now, I've got Reebok Float Ride 3. And I'm not even joking when I say that I've got 4 pairs of them. And because of my wife's defense discount card, I get 35% off. So they cost me £47. And for that, I use them for everything. I use them for easy days. I use them for speed. I use them, like, even on light trail, I'll use them. And they are my go-to. So yeah, Reebok. And funny enough, I run Comrades in a pair of Reeboks that I'd bought from from a charity shop.
Nice. Okay, what's your favorite bit of kit you like to carry with you all the time, no matter whether it's a short race or long race or whatever?
Headphones. Yeah, I've got or aftershocks. A lot of races won't let you into especially if there's a road, but they're basically bone conducting headphones.
Favorite snack on the run?
Got to be a pan of chocolate.
A pan of chocolate. Nice.
Yeah.
Favorite place you've ever run?
So I done in 2011. I run from Spain to France.
What? Just across the border? Literally, just jumped across.
Yeah, just like 10 meters, and I was like, "Me done." Yeah. No, so it was a staged event over 3 days, and I run from Lorette de Mar to Portbou. I'm probably butchering that. BOU. Port.
Your language skills are spot on, mate. I think.
Yes, Portbou. I've got that nailed. But essentially, it was a 3-day event over the coastal path, not a road in sight, and it was absolutely beautiful, like breathtaking every single step of the way. And I showed you a picture the other day that I'd done it in army issued trainers.
Yeah, nice.
I told you I'm a budget man. I love a bargain. So yeah,
there weren't no pony white plimsolls, mate.
They weren't. No, they were
trainers.
PT03s.
Yeah. Have you ever raced on the Southwest Coastal Path? You know where the Southwest Coastal Path is?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have. Not raced.
You've run it?
I've run it, yeah.
Is there any races you'd like to do on the Southwest Coastal Path that you fancy giving a smash?
Yeah. So like I just said to you now, the Arc of Attrition is right up there for me. If I can get entry into the Arc of Attrition, that would be a goal. But then, like, I've seen you and Lloyd done one a couple of weeks ago, so I'd like to. And my mates just moved down there as well, down to Cornwall. So I'd like to get down there and actually do some events down there for sure.
Yeah, you need to, mate. You need to hook it up. There's some fantastic races down there.
Yeah.
And obviously the pasties are spot on. If you could run with anyone dead or alive, who would you run with?
I'd probably go with Damon Hall.
Nice.
Just because of the story.
As long as you're happy to carry a letter bag with you, so you can, as he picks it up, you can carry it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that inspires you?
Oh, I'd like to say everyone, but no one in. I can't think of one specific person though.
Okay, have you ever run a London Marathon?
No, I've never got in. I've tried 7 times.
So it is a race that you would like to do?
I would. Yeah.
Okay, your Six Nations prediction.
France.
Good shout. Although I did feel we were a little bit unlucky against South Africa.
Yeah.
Today it was a good game. Did you watch it?
I'm gonna get hate for that being Welsh.
Well, yeah, but that's one thing. A proper rugby fan will always still, regardless, will say who's the best team at the moment, and I would go with France as well. Okay, and last but not least, Tom Jones, legend or no?
Yeah, legend,
He
100%
isn't he?
legend.
He's
Yeah,
an absolute legend. I saw him
100%
live in
legend.
Las Vegas once.
No,
Yeah, we were in San Diego, so we took a road trip up to Las Vegas, as you do, because you had some time off the ship, and he was playing, so we had to go see him. But one of the lads' dad knew him, so he wrote a letter saying, "Dear Tom, it's John's son. Is there any chance that we can, we and the lads are off HMS Newcastle? Any chance we can go see you later after the show?" He wrote a note back, come from his security guard, like he was like, "No," and he was like, "Sorry, lads, I'm busy. All this, I've got to shoot off all this. So give my love to Wiggy," which was his dad's nickname, and he didn't write that, so he obviously knew. So we're like, "Well, we'll take that." He's a freaking legend. He is.
yeah.
So that's the 10 quickfire questions done. Any advice for a beginner?
I'd say your beginning is not somebody your how do I put it across? What was the saying I said to Josh? So basically, don't compare yourself to other people. I was trying to say some cool thing that I'd said to one of the boys, but essentially by comparing yourself to anybody else, where you are in the journey is not where they are. So that could lead you to doing everything tits up. So you could go too hard, you could train wrong. So just take your journey as your journey and never compare yourself to others. Like the progression, like some people I'll progress quicker than other people could progress quicker to me. If I take that and take it on board and think I need to be working harder because he's progressing quicker, then that's a recipe for disaster. So enjoy it. It's your journey, nobody else's.
Yeah, I think you're right there. A lot of people make mistakes, especially with social media nowadays, of comparing their progress to somebody else that they know without realizing or knowing the full depth of what that other person is doing to get where they're going.
Yeah.
And that's it'll obviously hinder people. I always say, the only person you compare yourself to is yourself.
Exactly. And
as long as you're better than the day before.
Exactly. And there's so much information out there now on the internet. I know you're gonna find some crap, but like if you don't know what you're doing, just do some research. Like
just ask.
Yeah, just ask people.
Ask people. I mean, I know. I've even asked. Big known runners. Like Sally McRae and stuff like that. I've sent them messages, and they've been happy to reply back.
Yeah.
Just ask. People don't be scared to ask questions. Everyone starts from somewhere. And keep off the foam rollers. If people want to follow you, where can they find you?
So head over to Vet I Run, the group, not the page. The page is pretty much inactive, but head over to the group. And I'm on YouTube. I've got a running YouTube, which is Pursue Purpose, or Vet I Run, which is a podcast channel, but will be up and running in the near future. It's just because of the medication and stuff. I just haven't done anything lately. But those two places. So Vet I Run on YouTube or Pursue Purpose. I'm sure Owen will leave a links in the description anyway. And then Strava, I'm on there, but I don't post. So it's private. So there's no point.
I'll leave the links down. Obviously, I met you through the beautiful world of TikTok. That's how.
I'm on TikTok as well. Yeah.
That's how we found you.
I'm on TikTok. Vet I Run as well.
Yeah, TikTok and Instagram. He's on them. So I'll drop the links. But for the podcast, mate, that's pretty much it. It's been wonderful to chat to you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, you almost made me cry earlier. Well, it upsets me, hearing people's stories and stuff, and
yeah, it's difficult to take sometimes.
And it's not a lot when I can't do anything to help.
People can't, and that's the thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But like this now, so engagement wise, this is the only engagement that I really get now, because yes, I'm home with my family, but I've been pretty much self-isolating, apart from out running with Josh now and then. But yes, it's really, really good to socialize and do this kind of things. And if I can spread the message that, like, just because things seem okay on the outside, that 9 times out of 10, a smile is hiding some fucking pain that you don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, up until obviously I've never heard of the suicide disease. So if there's anyone listening and watching this, please don't be afraid to reach out, and maybe get into contact with Lee, or
yeah, I'm more than welcome.
about it. So you're not alone with this pain. And obviously I'm here to chat to anyone. I'll chat shit to anyone, especially on the run. So yeah, it's been brilliant, Lee. Thank you very much for
cheers for having me on,
coming on and kickstarting the next season. I couldn't think of a better story to tell for this one. So thank you very much.
Cheers,
much appreciated. I'll catch up to you after I've paused the recording. So for the podcast, thank you very much.
Keep bashing this, don't
I? Hey, don't break it, mate. Jesus Christ. We'll catch you all later. So that was Lee Davies. What can I say? His story of his pain and everything else with his suicide disease actually upset me during that. I told him that. I really enjoyed that chat, getting to know Lee more, about him and his running and his suicide disease that he has to cope with. So if any of you out there that suffers with the same, or and need to speak to someone like Lee or myself, and we're here to chat. Spread awareness more of this horrible pain that someone like Lee has to go through. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, stuff like that. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and generally show us your support. It would be much appreciated. It's great to be back with a podcast. And for now, I'm Owen, and I'm the Ultra Running Matelot, and you've been listening to If My Feet Could Talk.